Restoring men and history. What would be a wonderful life to you? How would you define it? What would you call a wonderful life? In the film It's a Wonderful Life, we see one man. One man is in trouble. He believes he has missed his dreams, his purpose, his mission, what he wanted to do. He does not make much money. He lives in an old house. No stocks, no bonds, no life savings, and an insurance policy with only $500 in equity. Can't go on trips when his friends ask. Can't take his wife on a trip. They have no money. Not where he wanted to be at all. Now living in a small town that he just wanted to get out of. Have you ever felt that feeling where you just want to get out, get going? Dreamed big, he did, George Bailey. He wanted to do big things. He wanted to travel to many places. He was going to have a really wonderful life, he thought. And he thought he knew what it was. We'd appreciate it if you like this video to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification button. Thank you. No net worth. I believe he had a salary of about $45 a week. Imagine that, living in a small town. So here we meet him. He's contemplating suicide. He believes he's worth more dead than alive. And that his family, he's got a wife, he's got children, will be better off with him gone, with the little insurance policy paying out. Why? He just does not believe he's done well for his family. He's let them down. He's let himself down. He's let his town down. He's let his father down. He's let everyone down. He hasn't chased and gotten his dreams. He hasn't been fulfilled. He's not failed only himself, but those he loves the most. But George Bailey gets a gift. An angel is sent down to guide him, to help him if he possibly can. That's the mission of the angel. Can he? We'll see. And even then, as George is standing on the bridge, contemplating jumping off and ready to jump off, he's ready to die, he's willing to die, he's depressed, the angel beats him to it. He jumps in, you see, and we learn something about George Bailey right there, ladies and gentlemen. He wants that insurance policy paid off, so he's willing to kill himself, and he wants to die. He's failed. But the angel jumps in and cries, "Help, help, help." So we learn something about George. He jumps in to save the angel, changes his plans to save someone else. You see, George was always thinking about others. Are you? Then the angel proceeds to show what the town, what the community would be like, what his life, what Mary's life, his wife, would be like if he had never been born. You see, he gets a gift to see what his life would be like in the town if he was never born, that community. George believes his life has meant nothing. Have you ever felt that way? Do you feel like you have a wonderful life? Do you know what it is? Do you have a purpose larger than yourself? Are you having an impact? Are you helping others? Are you outside of yourself thinking of others? See, George feels he's had no impact, made no difference, done nothing, accomplished nothing, lived a meaningless life. So this angel takes him around to see what life would be like without you. Would you like to have that gift? See where you have affected people? How many people have you affected in your life? And he takes him around, and guess what? The whole town had changed without George in it. That's right. Without George in it, the whole town has changed. Bedford Falls, where he lives and was born, was a beautiful, small, quaint town where you knew the people in it and the community, and you cared about others. It was a real community. When communities did things, not big government. And communities came together to help each other, not big government, not government programs. And you thought about others, and you worried about them, and you cared about them, and you visited them, and you talked, and you knew each other, you see. That's what Bedford Falls was, a place where you went to your neighbors, knocked on the door, where you brought them a ham, where you brought them a turkey, where you got together and socialized, and found out about the children's life and your life, and cared, and actually listened, and you helped each other. where people can own a home and have a stake in the community. But what does he find when the angel takes him around, ladies and gentlemen? Finds Bedford Falls is no more. It's completely changed, and it's now actually changed its name, too. You know what it's become? Pottersville. A slum-like place where nobody really owns, everybody rents, and everybody owes old man Potter, and he kind of owns everything. See, with George gone, Potter was able to take over everything. Nobody was able to build homes. Where people drink and avoid their problems and avoid dealing with reality. Where they help themselves and have fleeting fun. The housing neighborhood that George had built is all but gone, where people could have homes. The small, quaint downtown has turned into a bar and dance scene where people go to escape from whatever kind of life they have. But it doesn't seem to be very good. It seems to be a life of misery, gloom, doom, depression, isolation, and loneliness in this Pottersville. A place where there's no hope, no faith, and no love. Hope, faith, and love, theological virtues. Bedford Falls had it. Pottersville does not. They have vices, not virtues. Martini's Bar, once owned by a friend of George's, a kind friend and a kind man. George helped him what? Get a house for him and his family so they could start a life, so they could have their own little spot and plot of land, the American dream. It's now become Nick's when the angel takes him into the bar. Place where people go to drink. Instead of a friendly bar where you share stories and get to know each other better and have camaraderie and fulfilling tales, an exchange, a bond. The people now seem coarse and mean. One man taken out. The new owner, George's friend, also Nick, who worked for Martini's when he was alive and born. When they're trying to get a drink, says, we serve hard drink for people who want to get drunk fast. It's a totally different feeling. The whole town has changed. So the quaint town where people had helped each other has become a place where people want to get drunk fast. Why? To wash away to get away from life. Whereas the other town, they were thrilled with life and their neighbors, and they had what was really important in a wonderful life, right? They had each other. They had the town. They had community. Not fleeting fun. Getting drunk instead of building friendships. Going to dance clubs instead of building friendships. His mother he visits, and they show up, and she runs a boarding home, doesn't recognize him, of course, because he's never been born, and looks very unhappy and much older, with a look of misery on her face. She's changed too, you see. She's sweet and adoring of George in the earlier version when he's alive. Now her life is full of sadness, depression. In fact, the whole town seems depressed. Little joy in the whole town. Joy. Joy to the world is a Christmas song, and there seems to be no joy left in Bedford Falls. And not Bedford Falls anymore. It's Pottersville, where old man Potter owns everything. And you can't get ahead. You just have to drink from the bottle. Get away from your troubles because you really can't fix them. His wife, Mary, who was an angel in the earlier film, an angel in the human sense, just a perfect woman, a model wife, model member of the community, just outstanding woman. Beautiful soul on the inside and on the out. Is now an old maid, unmarried with no children. Why? Because the love of her life, George, was not there to marry. That's the one she wanted. Her dreams lost, and you see, her dream was to marry George and what? Have her children look like George. Women talk like that. They want their children to look like you, right? She wanted her children to look like George, and now she has none. She was such a phenomenal mother, too, so perfect in the setting. You can just see her decorating the tree and doing all the great things in It's a Wonderful Life in the movie. In that first part of the film where she's just the greatest. Violet has become a prostitute, a friend of George's, and he watches her get arrested after he has not been born. One man's life, Impacted the whole town and everyone in it. When you think about your life today, you may be down. Maybe you don't have anybody to share Christmas with. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe Christmas has never been good for you. Maybe you never had parents or they weren't very fantastic. You may be depressed. You may think my life's going nowhere. Depression's up in America. But it does not have to be that way. You may not think you're having an impact. Maybe you are. Maybe you are not having an impact and you need to change some things and make sure next year you do and make sure this Christmas you do. Maybe you're withdrawn in your room and you never see people and you're just sitting on your computer and phone by yourself, anxious, lonely, and depressed. No friends, no good friends. Building deep, real friendships. How can you have an impact? How can you change that? When George was around, what did he do? I'll tell you how you can do it, how you can have a wonderful life. How can you have it? Help people. George, when he's around, helps people. He does what? He has that core principle. Jesus Christ had it. It's what? Sacrifice. He's willing to sacrifice his own goals, his own dreams, and himself for others. A remarkable virtue, sacrifice. We don't talk about it enough in America. Selflessness. George is selfless. He's thinking about others constantly through the film. So he stays. He has all these dreams. He's going to go out and change the world, lasso the moon, do all these fantastic things. But his father dies unexpectedly and the town's going to crash, so he stays. He forfeits his college. He forfeits his dream. He forfeits traveling for the people of the town that he loves. Preventing old man Potter from getting control of the whole town and allowing no one to own a home. George knows that he would. He knows the plans. You see, old man Potter wants it all. He's greedy. They call him the greedy, old, frustrated man in the film. And he wants it all. He wants everyone renting from him and no one owning anything. By the way, does that sound familiar? Is there someone today that wants you to own nothing and be happy? George Bailey helped the Martinis and many others get a home. He helped build a whole neighborhood, getting people what? Joy. Their own home, the American dream. They were able to do it with George in the picture. Without him, they can't. They're just renters. Where their children could dream about their lives and play and look forward to the future. Look forward to a better life. Grow up in a better life, a superior one. By sacrificing his own goals and staying at the building alone, he transformed in a good way, not the bad way, a whole community. Why? With relationships and friendships deep with everyone. And he helped all. Without George, Nick became mean. In fact, many in the town became coarse and mean. You notice in the town, they become more selfish, mean, coarse, seem to have no joy, no light. Mary has a light. George has a light. But without George in it, nobody has a light anymore. Mary doesn't have a light. With George gone, Mary looks dour, sour, and withdrawn, and she's working in a library. No life for her, no children. Without George Bailey. The town has increased in what? Vices, not virtues. One man gone, and the whole town has increased in vices, not virtues. Amazing, right? One man. One man can have an impact. One man can make a difference. We say it all the time here at Restoring Men in History. You can make a difference. You can have an impact. Old man Gower, his first boss, became a drunk after going to prison for 20 years. Why? Why did he go to prison? Because George wasn't there to prevent him from giving the poison pills to another innocent who died because George Bailey wasn't there. One man wasn't there. People died. So this Christmas, when you go around, ask yourself, who can I be kind to? Which friend can I help? Whose friend can I make their dreams come true or help them get it? Who can I help? Who can I listen to who might be lonely and might not have a family and might not have a friend and have nobody but you at that cigar bar or you at that coffee shop or wherever you go and frequent? What if you just stopped this Christmas and talked to one person you never talked to 15 minutes and listened heartily? And they knew you were listening. What would that mean to them? Maybe 15 minutes of your time could save somebody's life who was contemplating suicide. I don't know. Possible. But maybe at least it could make their life a little better to understand them, to think that they're understood by someone and that someone's listening and hears them. Who can I be there for? Ask yourself that question this Christmas and next year, all next year. Ask yourself, what friend can I be there for? Who do I need to come through for? Which friends can I help achieve their dreams? Remember, some people, and remember this, have no family at Christmas. No wife, no husband, no mother, no father, no brothers, no sisters. They sit alone in a house alone while everybody else celebrates, and they see all the pictures on all the social media while they sit there alone. Maybe you can give them a call or be nice. Give them 15 minutes of your time this year. Sad, depressed, isolated, lonely. That's never been like this in America before. The numbers of sadness, loneliness, anxiousness, depression. Highest they've been. Be like George Bailey and help others. And if you do help others and someone comes up to you one day and asks you about your life and says, what kind of a life do you have? You can sit back and honestly say, well, it's a wonderful life. Now, at the end of the film, George is in trouble for the building loans. You see, it's short on money because Uncle Billy has misplaced $8,000. Potter has it. And George will go to jail if they don't come up with the money. But George has no stocks, no bonds, no savings, remember? So the sheriff's there for his arrest and the bank examiner as well. But there are others there too. You see, many friends from the town have also gathered at George's. Why? Because they're worried. They love George. They're worried about their friend. And they care. You see, he built a community. He built a wonderful life. And his whole life was about what? Not himself, others. His whole life of George Bailey is about other people. Giving, sacrificing. Now, his little brother Harry's flown in too. All these people are gathering. Everybody's coming in. Help big brother George. Help George Bailey, the great man. And he offers a toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town. You see, George has helped many people in the community and his friends, and they're there at his home. Why are they there? Friendship. He had put the time and energy into them and into building up others, not himself. Wouldn't it be great if we all did that? Built up others. Making Bedford Falls greater, making it a fantastic place for families to raise their children, where people could own little homes instead of rent from Potter. Turns out everyone there, his friends, are all pitched in and brought their own little jars and all these things and their meager savings, and they're pitching in. Jars of money. Save what? Their friend. They're there for their friend. Another friend, Sam, wires up to $25,000. You got it, man. Why did they do it, ladies and gentlemen? He had showed them the way. And you can do that too. One man showed a town how to live for each other. He had been the example of selflessness. Know anybody else like that? Sacrifice. You know anybody else like that at Christmas? One man willing to sacrifice for all. There's another man, God man, caring about others. Anyone else big on sacrifice? He had built relationships and friendships and helped them build a life. He had come through for them, and now they were coming through for him. His friends, not government. His small business, not big government. Not too big to fail banks. It wasn't a big bank. It was the little small business in this film that saved everybody. It was the little small business in this film that built the whole town, not the government, not HUD. And it was others that helped each other, not entitlements. Community coming together, helping each other, not government. Big lesson here. Small business, not big business. And we could go on this film. Maybe we're going to come back and do the whole film. I want you to do it short at first and this way. Maybe we'll come back and analyze the whole film because there's so much in this film. Relationships matter, but that's the point we're making today. Friendships matter. So much to go in this film. Mary is a beautiful angel. When he went to Bailey Park, where all the new homes were when he had been born, the angel says, you weren't there to build them. One man. During the movie, when he is at the grave of his little brother, he's shocked. He says, but Harry saved that transport of men. The angel says, you weren't there to save Harry. So Harry wasn't there to save the men on the transport. And then the angel says, you see, George, you really did have a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away? Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many others. When he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he? And that can be your life too, if you choose it. You can help others and have an impact today by smiling, by being kind. You can have an impact with kindness at Christmas and next year. Sacrifice to others and selflessness and thinking about others, putting them before yourself and consideration. You can live a life where people would miss you if you were gone, so that you would leave an awful hole. Make people feel better about themselves, that when you leave them, they say, wow, he makes me feel better. Being kindness to the world, bring kindness to the world. See the best in your friends. This Christmas and next, live your life to have an impact and help others. Help your friends, make it a better community, and then you too can have what? A wonderful life. It makes a difference. You can have a purpose larger than yourself. Be grateful for what you have instead of what you don't have. Appreciate it. Know that helping others is an accomplishment. You see, we get caught on materialism, status, titles in America. But what's really important when you think about it? Your relationships, your friendships, right? Those dear friends, your family. But you got to put the time into friendship to have it, and the energy. Not transactional. Real friendship. Sitting at a cigar bar for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours with John Wilson and others builds a friendship. And that's one thing, right? What's the most important? Friendship is one of them, right? Who have you helped? Who have you made a difference in their lives? Can you write it down on a piece of paper? Take out a piece of paper and say, who have I helped? Who am I going to help next year? Now, at the end of the movie, George is standing with his wife holding one child, and he sees a book down there. The angel has left it. It's a copy of Tom Sawyer. He opens it up, and we believe this here much. We talk about it much. So you knew we weren't going to leave this out. You see, the angels left a book for George, and he picks it up, standing there with his wife holding his child. On the inside, it has a inscription there. What does it say? What does it say? Dear George, no man is a failure who has friends. Thank you, and Merry Christmas. We would really appreciate it if you like this video, would share it, comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Again, thank you and Merry Christmas.